This video doesn't even get a proper production setup. I just need to say what has happened and what I need to say before I forget it, and we're gonna leave it at that, because tonight was the last straw. So it's been 6 months since BEACN has launched. You would think the software has improved. They've had nearly a year of user testing time, given they had at least 6 months of beta tester feedback before I had my hands on it. A lot of changes, a lot of updates. People keep telling me, oh, it's better now. Oh, you should try it again. Any update on your video, blah, blah, blah. I thought I had found the perfect use case for the BEACN products. My house inside the studio. I needed a few things. I was juggling a bunch of cheaper setups and nothing was working for me. I was using the Sennheiser EPOS audio, the GSX 600, the headset and the headphone amp, but the headset audio wasn't good enough for what I wanted. I then was trying to figure out an audio interface situation and that wasn't working. I wanted to switch to my Beyer dynamic headphones, so I needed a better headphone amp. I needed a microphone that could reject the very untreated living, family room that I was doing my in-house gaming on that wasn't really an option to treat. I had a bunch of needs there, and I wanted a mixer so I could mix audio, so I could still make some light gaming content for lost saves and some, casual streams, but still have reasonable audio. BEACN seemed like the perfect answer. I already had a cool paint splatter themed microphone. It has a high quality headphone amp that powers my headphones perfectly. That part is great. And for the past month and a half, it has been the absolute worst experience. And all of the previous excuses that were made for why it wasn't working on my main computer setup don't even begin to apply. This stuff is useless. It is a junk. I was ready to eat my words, and I wanted to make a really high quality tour of my in-house streaming setup as I was using it. I was like, hey, here's what it was made. Here's literally the exact scenario this stuff was made for. And I can't. I am ripping it out tonight and replacing it with a GoXLR and an Earthworks or an RE20 and calling it a day, even though I did not want to do that. So let's run through the setup for a moment. I showed you previously I was using the CRT and the Samsung 240Hz display. I've currently moved the 240Hz display back because I'm reviewing the QD OLED ultra wide from Alienware. It's amazing. We'll have a video on it soon. It is the best monitor I've ever used. Again, with that, I needed some noise rejecting, the AI noise suppression stuff or whatever, and the BEACN mic sounded appealing. A really good, dynamic mic that could reject all the echoing off my desk and in the space, because when I have a whole studio, I couldn't justify sound treating my house. That doesn't pass the family test. So I needed a mic that could do that. I needed a high-quality headphone amp. So I set up the BEACN Mix Create, because the mix is useless. I needed the virtual audio devices, and I needed the mic. Got it set up on the new Rode PSA 1 Plus, got the headphone cable ran to my headphone, got it all hooked up. I'm using the Intel Nook that I reviewed previously, or I didn't really review it yet. I still have some thoughts on that, but I unboxed it and checked it out. It has a 12900 and an RTX 3080 in it, and I have basically nothing else connected. I have a webcam that I've used once, and that is all that's really hooked up to the device. My keyboard is the Keychron. It's a wireless Bluetooth mechanical keyboard, and I've got the glorious Model O wireless mouse. Not a ton of USB audio devices. It's not AMD. It's not Threadripper. All those excuses about the USB drivers being not compatible with AMD don't apply. And yet I have had constant DPC latency issues causing static, crackles, disconnects. I have literally been in multiple calls and recordings where everything just disconnects, and I still hear my game sound looped back through my headphones. It recovers quick enough for that, but they can't hear me in the call, and I can't hear chat audio devices, or either chat will somehow relay through the microphone audio device, and even though I have the specific BEACN microphone audio device that isn't routed through the Mix Create, somehow those wires get crossed, even though that device is exclusive to the microphone and not the Mix Create mixing software. It has caused system hangs while I'm playing a game, specifically Master Chief Collection for some reason, which is not that hard to run compared to Battlefield or, whatever else. It will just randomly freeze for a second or for a minute, or it'll do that super loud where the audio freezes for a second while the game freezes, and the device is disconnecting, and then I have to redo everything. And those serious DPC latency issues, which I blamed them running at 192 kilohertz or 96 kilohertz, I don't remember which one it is on, because that's extremely taxing on the system, as well as their unstable drivers. They kept telling me, oh, it's exclusive to Threadripper. It's my weird audio drivers on my main system. And I was just like, that's fine. Here's all the logs. And even in my review, I was like, probably. I'm using exotic hardware. I'm using standard Intel stuff now. Should not be an issue. But the DPC latency stuff got worse to the point where every single time I tried to have a Discord call or tried to record something with someone, the microphone wouldn't work. Either it would say that it was using the BEACN microphone and very clearly picking up the webcam mic, because everyone would be like, wow, it sounds like you have a massive fan running and we can't hear you. And I'm like, well, that's weird. The microphone's up against my mouth and I'm not using it at a distance. My lips are touching it the entire time. I was trying to play by the rules. And then I'd have to play this whole song and dance of trying to get the microphone to work, trying to get chat audio to pick up, relaunching the BEACN app, and then I have to relaunch anything that hooked the BEACN app, including any recordings I was trying to do. Every time, every night that I have gone to record something with someone, that has happened. And in every session, about an hour or more in, it just disconnects. For casual use of just watching YouTube videos or gaming without using the microphone or a call, any interactivity to it, where I'm just using the system audio device basically, or the browser device on the Mix Create, and not even really using my microphone as anything but a headphone amp, totally stable, totally fine. Headphone amp is honestly great. I was super impressed. The second I try to create content with it, no. On top of lots of other instabilities with the app using GPU rendering in a weird way just totally freaks G-Sync out, by the way. So that was great. My screen flickers all over the place whenever the app's open. Does not like G-Sync. It doesn't want to save my settings half the time. There's been a lot of weird stuff with that. And then tonight, I catch something which has completely destroyed hours of recordings for me for an extremely important to me project. So the second point of the ideal setup of why I thought the BEACN was such a cool thing is they added a VOD track submix. So a second submix specifically for VOD track, which is supposed to exclude your music, but you can use it for whatever you want. And so I had it added to NVIDIA Shadowplay to have both my microphone and Discord chat. Because with Shadowplay, you can add a secondary audio device and record it to a second track, but that can only contain one extra audio device. So you have your game chat, audio, which is always track one, and then you can add your microphone. But you can't add a third one for voice chat or anything. But this VOD track lets me mix both. Now, granted, figuring out what that mix is impossible because there's not a separate mix for it. Like, you can't control the levels for it. But, I can mix my Discord chat and my microphone to that one track and record live session content, which has been huge for my Lost Saves channel. Last night, I tested, made sure everything was working perfectly. Go to record Battlefield 1 with BBK Dragoon to record both for his channel and for my Lost Saves YouTube channel. And it took me about 20 minutes of relaunching everything, the whole song and dance, to get it working in the first place. But I tested it before we got going. Microphone's working in Audacity. Microphone's working in Discord. Shadowplay recording seems to be working fine. I go to edit this stuff tonight, and I had recorded an hour and a half, almost 2 hours, of Battlefield 1 with BBK Dragoon, and then I recorded nearly 3 hours of Halo Reach custom games with one of my Discord mods for what I thought was going to be amazing live session content. And my microphone is completely absent from that mix. I went back, I ran in the house, double check. The checkbox is still there for my microphone and voice chat to go to that mix. I had already relaunched the app and verified the microphone was showing up everywhere else, and it wasn't in the mix. Now, for my video with BBK Dragoon, I recorded my audio separately in Audacity specifically to send him. But for all of my stuff for me, the whole point was I had it running through Shadowplay, and I had no reason to do that. And so all of my microphone for all of those live session Halo matches, 2 hours of footage that I wanted to edit down, is now either trash or I have to turn into a post-commentary style video because it's completely gone. And if there's one thing that really sets me off and makes me just so angry about the kind of job that I do, it's when an entire recording gets destroyed, especially when you can't just recreate because of some weird issue where something gets corrupted, audio gets destroyed or whatever. Those are the most soul hardened, hurt, just makes you ache inside because you can't undo it, and it just wasted so much of that joy. And when you try to go back to do it, that's sitting in the back of your head and it's tainting your mood for it. And that's the final straw. I am going in there tonight and I'm ripping the hunk of junk BEACN stuff out of my setup and I'm basically throwing it away. It has been 6 months since the BEACN launch and BEACN stuff launched. They proved to be incompetent at PR during the GoXLR time, as I covered thoroughly in my GoXLR review, and has continued to be a meme on Twitter since the GoXLR's launch. And they've only just started, rebuilding those features as that team left to make BEACN and new people came in to develop features for GoXLR. They clearly didn't listen to most of the people during the beta testing based on all the information I've received for the BEACN stuff. They're still incompetent at PR, as there was just a huge blow-up with the same Kick Tripod guy for accusing random Frank P of Linus Tech Tips of doing paid reviews and that they charge for reviews. The very practice he defended super strongly to me with the GoXLR launch, which was my whole spiel my whole thing at the start of the GoXLR review about not liking their practices because he was defending paid reviews. He had to backtrack all of that because he pissed off the wrong bear with accusing those channels of that. Still incompetent at PR, seemingly incompetent at developing anything. I don't know. I'm just done. I really This was the scenario where I wanted to be proven wrong. I wanted to be like, here's the perfect use case. Here's the situation everyone says it's described for. I've given it 6 months to stabilize and be better. And I'm using hardware that it's supposed to already work with out of the box versus my crazy stuff that they act like is unheard of and was never tested before. And every step of the way it's early July, so about a month and a half now, it's just caused me problems. And so I didn't want to do this because it's going to be way more complicated of a setup that's going to make my life worse, and I still have to figure out the headphone amp side of things, but I'm swapping it out with the GoXLR. There's no excuse. I'm done. I'm not. I acquired a second BEACN mic from someone so I can make the audio interface because it's been 6 months and they still haven't produced that. When literally all I have to do is hook up a phantom power supply and put it in a box and hook up an XLR plug and you've got an audio interface. They haven't even released that. I'm done. There is no product now or in the future that I would ever say is a good idea to purchase from this company. And I'd suggest you just back away slowly. I'd say remember, be kind, be rewind, but no, nothing about this is kind. It's junk. Go throw it in a ditch.